Hello and welcome to Mr. C's presentation on converting fractions to decimals. Yes, you are actually going to use long division. I know, it's going to come up again in your lives at times, and this is one of those times. So if you do not know how to use long division, you're watching the wrong lesson. Go back and check that out and then come back and I will show you how to convert fractions into decimals. But first let's ask, like we always do, why is this important and why do we have to know this? Well, it's easy to convert decimals into percents. So if you can convert fractions into decimals, you can then convert decimals into percents. You can convert all of them between each other, which is pretty nice if you know how to do this. So and it also makes comparing fraction size easy. So if you're looking at 2/3 and you're looking at 4/5 and you don't know which one's bigger, convert them into decimals, and then you can easily tell which one's bigger. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that just a little bit by the end of this video. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's do it. We are going to convert the following fractions into decimals. Here we go. First one, 1/4. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. Oop, there's the second one. Let's go ahead and do the first one. 1/4. So first I'm going to convert it into a nice friendly looking fraction with a numerator and a denominator, right? And then what you do, or what I do, is basically pretend like this little fraction line here tips over to the right hand side and dumps the 1 over here. See, there's the 1. And there's your little fraction line. And then just turn that little fraction line into a little hut. Okay, now watch. What's 1 divided by 4? Oh, I can't do that. Okay, so let's just add a decimal point and a 0. Oh, I can do that. Okay, how many times does 4 go into 10? It goes in twice. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. I have a remainder, so I'm going to add another 0. Look, I haven't changed this number at all. I have 1, then I have 1.0, same number. 1.00, same number. So let's drop this one down. How many times does 4 go into 20? It goes in 5 times. Actually, it goes in 5 times evenly, because 5 times 4 is 20. Woohoo! No remainder. I'm done. All I got to do is make sure my decimal point goes right where it belongs, up above on that little division hut. So what is 1/4 in decimal form? I'll even write it over here for you. 1/4 is equal to 0.25, 25 hundredths. Every time you see 25 hundredths, it is equivalent. It is the same as 1/4. They are basically the same thing if you know about the fraction decimal relationship. Okay, so let's try this again. I'm going to erase all this, and we're going to do 2/5 in decimal form. Okay, so let's make the fraction 2/5. We're going to tip this 2 off the side. And we're going to do, what is 2 divided by 5? All right, well, we can't do that, so we have to add a decimal point and a 0. Haven't changed that number at all. And then we can go, how many times does 5 go into 20? Oh, it goes in 4 times. Because 4 times 5, whoa, this one was easy, is 20. And 20 minus 20 is 0. There is no remainder, so all we have to do is make sure that decimal point gets in the right spot, just right above. So what is 2/5 in decimal form? Well, it was easier than you might have thought it was, right? If you know how to do long division, you know that 2/5 is 4/10 or 0.4. Cool, huh? All right, let's do one more. 7/8. This one I think is a little tougher. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to write it up here. 7/8. We're going to tip that 7 off the top on the right-hand side and turn it into a long division problem. What is 7 divided by 8? Well, we can't do that, so we add a decimal point and a 0. How many times does 8 go into 70? It goes in 9 times. No, I lied. It goes in 8 times. Yes! Phew, almost screwed that up there. Because 8 times 8 is 64. 70 minus 64 is 6. Okay, well, I have a remainder, so I'm going to add another 0 and drop it down. How many times does 8 go into 60? Oh man, I'm so bad at my 8s. Goes in, let's see, I think 7 times, right? Because isn't 7 times 8 56? Yes, it is. And 60 minus 56 is 4. So I'm going to add another 0 because I still have a remainder. And that gives me a 40 down here. How many times does 8 go into 40? Aha! This is where my remainder is going to go away. It goes in 5 times because 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. My remainder is gone. So all I have to do is make sure my decimal point goes where it belongs, which is right above where it was in the problem because I don't have any decimal points in my divisor, so it stays right where it is. So what is 7/8 in decimal form? It's 875 thousandths, or 0.875. Whoa, cool. So now look, right? Do you remember 2/5? It was equal to 0.4. Now, since I know how to compare decimals, I can also very easily compare fractions, right? What's bigger, 0.4 or 0.875? Well, that's easy, 0.875. So I know that 7/8, right? I know that 7/8 is larger than 2/5 because I can convert them into decimals, and then I can easily look at the decimals and say, oh man, that is way bigger. 875 thousandths is more than twice the size of 4/10 or 400 thousandths, if that's how you want to think about it. Okay? All right, you're going to have to practice with this. You're going to have to play with this, but first let's quickly go over what we learned. What did we in fact learn? Well, we learned a few things. Long division can be used to convert fractions into decimals, right? That's basically what we did right there. Converting fractions into decimals makes it easy to compare them. That's what I did at that last step, right? Because I think it's much easier to compare decimals than it is fractions. Because fractions sometimes can get confusing, right? Especially if you have a number like 4/10 and 1/2. You might go, oh man, 1/2 is smaller, but it's not. And you'd know that if you converted them into decimals first. And then finally, fractions and decimals are kind of the same thing, okay? If you combine the equivalent decimal to a fraction, they are the same thing. You can use them in place of each other, all right? Kind of like we did in that comparison when we were looking at sizes. Okay, so you're going to have to do this. Try it. I want you to convert the following fractions into decimal form, and then I've got a challenging problem at the end. 1/2. Convert 1/2 into a decimal. Then I want you to convert 3/5 into a decimal, and then I want you to convert 1/6 into a decimal. Once you've done all of that, I've got this word problem for you. I challenge you to be able to do this. Convert the following 2 fractions into decimals, and then explain how you know which one is bigger or which one's larger. 2/3 or 8/32. So you got to convert them into decimals and then explain which fraction is larger and how you know that. Can you do it? You know you can. Get the answers, check with your teacher or your mom or your grandma or your grandpa or whoever is helping you out with math. Practice, practice, practice this. It is a valuable skill, and once you become a master at it, we can move on to bigger and better things. All right, I hope this helped. Thanks.